Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. In today's session, I will talk about the monitoring services. Okay. So, what are the different monitoring services available in AWS? How can we enable and how can we check the logs and how can we basically troubleshoot with the help of the logs? Okay. So, in AWS, we have CloudTrail. This is one service. Okay. And then we have CloudWatch. Let me share my screen.
Screen.
Yeah, yeah.
We are unable to see you.
Yeah, one second. Let me share my screen. Okay, hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
So we have two different services. One is CloudTrail and one is CloudWatch. Okay. So basically, CloudTrail is a service. The service will help us to track the activities of AWS account. Okay, means when I say this will help us to track the activities of AWS account, means for example, for one account there will be 10 or 15 different users who are working for the same account, right? So in this case, I want to monitor each and every change which is been happening on my AWS account. Okay, who is deleting something, who is creating something, who is uploading the files, okay, who is doing what. Okay, so if suppose if someone doesn't have the access and still he is trying to access, so such kind of activities I can monitor with the help of CloudTrail service. Okay, so by enabling this service, what will happen, we can easily audit our AWS account, as well as we can do a kind of governance to our AWS account. Okay, as well as we can do a kind of auditings as well. Okay, so if you see this, CloudTrail is a service that enables governance, compliance, operational auditing, and risk auditing of our AWS account. Means what's happening on our account, who is making such changes. Okay, if suppose you have created one EC2 instance, someone has deleted. In order to identify that, we need to have CloudTrail service in our AWS. Okay, apart from this, it will record all the activities done by the user's role and other AWS services. Means if any user has created something, then that will be recorded. If any AWS services are communicating with some other services, in that case also it will record that activity. So it will record almost all the activities happening on our AWS account. And by default, this is been enabled on our AWS account. Means already it is been enabled. We no need to create any separate CloudTrail, but default we have this enabled on our AWS accounts. Okay, and we can store up to the 90 days of activities on our AWS account. Okay, so now if I log into my AWS account, okay, so this is my AWS account. If I'll go to CloudTrail, okay, and if I'll click on the event history on the left side, here we can see already we have some records monitored by AWS CloudTrail. As I have said, right, so just know that by default this has been enabled on our AWS account. So this is how we can see. Even if you log into your accounts and go to CloudTrail service and go to event history, then you can find some events which are being recorded in our AWS account. So if you see this, the event name is release address, means I was releasing one elastic IP address. At what time? May 29, means yesterday, and at this particular timing. Okay, and the username who has released this IP was root. Okay, and this is our EC2 service, elastic IP, and then this is our resource name. Okay, for example, let me show you one more thing. Let me click on S3. If I'm trying to create one new bucket, okay, S0509. Okay, let it be Ohio region, and by default settings. Okay, let me just create a one bucket and let us see the event history which has been captured. Okay, I have created one bucket, right? So if I'll refresh this, it will take some time, but still we can see that one S3 bucket has been created in the CloudTrail. Event history. It should record the activity. See, if you see this, create bucket has been recorded at what time? May 30, that is just now 11:51 UTC, and then AWS bucket, and this is my bucket name. So this is what CloudTrail is doing by default. Means whatever we are doing, each and everything is being captured by CloudTrail. Okay. Now if I delete this, what will happen? Sorry. S3 buckets, delete. Delete bucket. Again, this event will be captured in my CloudTrail. Okay, it will reflect after 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, here I can see that delete bucket, which user, at what time, and what was the bucket name. Okay, we can see the complete detailed information what is been happening on our AWS account. Guys, is this clear? What happened? Okay. Okay, let me refresh this. Let us see if delete bucket has been captured or not. Okay, not yet, but it will get captured. So again here in CloudTrail, so whatever we are seeing now, these events are free of cost. I mean, AWS is not charging anything for these kind of events. Okay, AWS is not charging for anything for these kind of events which are being capturing by default. Okay, so in events we have again three type of events. Okay, one is management event, one is data events, and one is inside events. Okay, so here whatever we are seeing right now, right? I mean, anyone is signing in, anyone is trying to create or communicate or delete, so that type of events are called as management events. Means capture management operations performed on AWS resources. Whatever I'm trying to perform on AWS resources, that are being captured, and management events are free of cost. AWS will not charge for anything. Okay, and management events will be created by default. So that's what I was showing just now. Okay, so if suppose you have created one more management event, see, delete bucket has been captured now. So if suppose I have created one more management event, what will happen? Billing will start for that management event. Means only one management event is free of cost. If you are creating one more management event, in that case we need to pay the price as well. Okay, so how to create trial? So this is what all about the default one. Okay, so let us show how can we create the trials. Okay, if I'll go to dashboard, or else if I'll go to the cloud trial service, right? So here we can create a trial. Click on create a trial, then we can go to create trial workflow. As of now, here we can see only the basic thing. Okay, for example, trial logs. Okay, and then where you want to store these logs. Trial log bucket and folder means a bucket will created where these logs will be stored. Okay, whatever activities which are being recording, I want to store this in my S3 bucket. In this case, one S3 bucket will get created, and if you go and click on create trial, a trial will get created. Okay, so this is the basic trial how we can create. So I don't want this, so let me delete this now. I will go to cloud trial, create trial, and I want to create the full workflow of cloud trial. Okay, if I'll click on this button, here we can see different GUI console. Okay, now test 0509 logs. Okay, so you want where you want to store these logs, whether in a new S3 bucket or existing one. So in my case, I want to create this in my new S3 bucket. Okay, I will select this. And if you want to create any kind of encryption, so as of now, I don't want to create any encryption, so I will check out this box. Okay, and the log validation. So basically, why do you want to choose log validations? For example, one log has been created. If someone logged into your S3 bucket and modified that log, someone deleted that log or modified the changes. So in this case, if we enable this, then we will be able to know what kind of logs has been modified. This will help us to do not alter our log files. Okay, so let me use enable. Okay, SNS notification delivery. So here in AWS, we have one more service called SNS. SNS means simple notification service. So what will happen if I create one SNS? So this service will help us to send out the notifications to the users. For example, this is my cloud trial, and my cloud trial is pushing some events to S3, right? In our case, we are trying to store the events in S3, right? Okay, so whenever some records are been printed to S3 or recorded to S3, what will happen? I will configure one service called SNS. So this service will send out the alert to the user. Okay, this will be the user. This service will send out the alert to user. How it will send out the alert? It might be with the help of emails. It might be with the help of messages, SMS. Okay, so if you want to get the notifications of your services, then we can use SNS service. Okay, so in our case, let me use SNS now. Okay, SNS notification service. Yes, I want this. I want to notify whenever there is a record activated. Okay, enable. So here again it is asking for new and existing. So let us try to create one new and configure the same. Okay, duplicate SNS service, simple notification service. If I'll go to this service, okay, standard. What will be the topic name? Alert. Okay, here also I will call as cloud trial alert. Okay, encryptions, access policy. I don't got all this stuff. So let me create one basic one. Create topic. Okay, one SNS topic has been created. Now to this particular topic, what kind of alert you want to configure? So let me go to subscriptions and click on create subscription. Okay, in protocols we can select whether you want email or you want SMS or you want other stuff. Okay, so if I'll click on SMS, it will be asking for the mobile number. Okay, if I'll click on email, then it will ask for the emails. Okay, so I want my notifications to send out to my email address. Okay, so let me open this email. This is my email ID. Okay, horizon take it 27 and then click on create subscription. Okay, once the subscription is been created, if you see the status, this is in pending confirmation, means AWS SNS has sent one notification to our email where we need to confirm that the service is what we have enabled. Okay, so if I'll go to my email, Here we can see one subscription confirmation. So if I'll click on confirm subscription, then only the status will be validated. Okay, successfully subscribed. Let me close this, and if I'll go to this, okay, and if I'll refresh this alert, okay, confirm status is confirmed now. Okay, so we have one SNS also configured. So let me go to my cloud trial existing topic. This is my topic what I have created. Okay, and where you want to store these logs. So I want to store these logs in my S3 bucket. That's one location, and another location I want to store my logs in CloudWatch log groups. Okay, if I'll enable this, here it will ask whether you want to create one log group similar to what we have created for VPC. So I will say yes, new group, and then it will create the role. Basically, why are we creating role? So that this service, I mean, cloud trial service will write events on our cloud trial, I mean, CloudWatch logs. Okay, so new one, service name, cloud trial events role. If I'll open the policy document, so this is how our policy will looks like. Okay, action and the resources, and then what kind of effect to allow, and action is to put the logs. Okay, so and then let me click on next. Okay, so this is where we can see what are the different type of events available. Okay, so one is management events, so which were enabled by default. So what this management event will do, this will help us to capture our operations performed on our AWS resources, means who has created, what has been created, what has been deleted. So these kind of activities will get with the help of management events. Okay, so if I am creating this, no additional charges applied to log management events on the trial, because this is your first copy of management event. Basically, I'm trying to create my first management event, so there will be no billing. If I will try to create one more management event, then in that case, I need to pay the billing for us. Okay, and then we have data events. So what data events will help us with? So if suppose what happened on your S3, who has put uploaded any object, if someone has deleted any object, if someone has downloaded any object, so that kind of events we call as data events. Okay, so what kind of operations performed on within a resource. Okay, if I'll open this, okay, when user uploaded, deleted and downloaded files in our S3. So similar to this, we have lot of different events as well. Okay, if I'll select this, here we can see EC2. For example, if I'll see EC2, then we can search for EC2. Okay, in EC2 instance connect endpoint. Okay, we have different services, out of what we can check what happened on that particular service. Okay, so this is one kind of event, but default, if I create this, then I need to pay the billing for these data events. Okay, and then we have one more event that we call as insight event. Means if some unusual activity, if someone is trying to log in with wrong password with my account, such kind of activities will be captured in inside events. If suppose I have provided access to Ashfaq, okay, and Ashfaq doesn't have the complete access, but still he is trying to create some buckets and other stuff. In that kind of cases, what will happen, inside events will get triggered, because that's a kind of unusual activity. He doesn't have access, but still he's trying to call that APIs. Okay, so that kind of events we can identify in the inside events. Okay, so for now I will only select management events. Okay, we can also select three. If you want two, we can select two. If you want three, all the type of logs, we can select three. Okay, in data events we want to select, and then if I'll go to management events, for example, let me show you this inside events. See, inside events, this is how we can see. So based upon the API calls, it will get generated. So for now, let me create management events, and then what kind of activities I want, the read and write activities. Okay, and then click on next. Okay, and click on cloud trial. So once this trial is been created, so we have configured SNS topic as well. Means if something happened on our AWS resources, then it should send out the alert as well. If any record has been created, whether for deleting, creating, uploading any record. Okay. So this is our logs bucket with, sorry, this is our trial name, and this is our S3 bucket where the logs are being stored. Okay, and this is our log group. So we are storing our logs in two different locations. Okay, so let me open my S3 bucket. Okay, this is my S3 bucket. If I click on AWS logs, and this is my account. Okay, cloud trial. It will take some time to to upload the objects. Okay, so in the meantime, what I will do, let me try to delete one bucket. This one was earlier created, so this is not required, so I will delete my record now. Let me delete so that one activity can be recorded. Permanently delete. Now let me delete this bucket as well. Okay, hopefully now some logs will be printed. This is my account, cloud trial. It will take some time, so let me check. Meantime, let me check my CloudWatch. Okay, duplicate, because we have stored our logs in two different locations, right? CloudWatch, logs. This is my log group which has been created. If I click here, then we have two different logs which has been created. Okay, this was the latest one, 1208. If I click here, see, this is how we can see all the logs. Okay, based upon the timing we can search. Okay, meantime, since some logs has been written, so what we have did, we have configured an SNS, right, notification service. So let me go to my Gmail. Okay, see, if you see this 5 emails, if I click here, so this was the latest one. Okay, here it is trying to send out the validation messages to our email service. Okay, so this is how the notifications will get alerted. If there are any kind of activities happening or recorded, then the notifications will send to the users. Okay, because each and every time I will not be monitoring my service, right? So the common thing what we do is we'll be checking our emails. So if I see any alert, okay, then I will check for this email and I will check what happened. Okay, so this is how we can configure the SNS topics. Okay, if I'll go to my CloudWatch log groups, and if I'll click here, okay, so here you can find the complete detailed information of our logs. What happened, what API call has been called. Okay, same thing we can find in our S3 as well. If I'll refresh this, still not yet written, it might take some time to write these objects. Okay, so after few minutes we can see that we have some logs written for our S3 as well. Okay, so the, and also we can customize. Okay, so for now, for example, if you want the logs from last 5 minutes only, then we can select this and click on apply. So we can see the logs from last 5 minutes only. Okay, so we can check the latest logs. Based upon the logs, we can go to troubleshooting. I mean, what happened, and based upon this, we can get a kind of root cause direction. What needs to be done? What happened on our account? Clear?
Yes.
Bro, could you please explain about data events once again, bro?
Sorry,
About the data event.
which one?
The data event.
Data events. Okay.
Yeah.
So Where is our cloud trial? Okay, create trial. Let us create one more event, data events. Okay, let us use one more new S3 bucket, or else, okay, let us be using one more S3 bucket. Okay, no need of any SNS topic because already we have enabled that, right? So enabled existing cloud trial role. I will be using the same role, and if I click next, KMS I don't want. Okay, if I click on next and data events. Okay, and this time I will only select data events. So for example, S3. Okay, S3, what kind of events we want to log? Whether we want to read, whether we want to log the read events or write events, so we can select that. Okay, so let me use all events. Select our name test. This is optional, so not required. So let me click on next, create file. So let us see what will happen to our S3. Okay, so this is data events what I have created, and this is my bucket, but this is take some time to generate. Okay, so if I'll open this also, we cannot find anything. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me go to my previous one. This was our previous one. So basically what's happening, so it is trying to track the records from all the regions. See, US East 1, East 2, West 2. Okay, so this is trying to record all the events from our account. Okay, from complete AWS account, not from specific regions. Okay, so if I'll open this, 5:30, this is date. Okay, so this is how our logs will get generated. So if I'll download the tar file, then we can find the text file with all our logs printed. Okay, so this is how we can see in S3, and this is how we can see in our CloudWatch log group. So let us see one more log group which has been created just now for data events. Okay, data events number is triple F7, right? Triple F7. Yeah, this is our log group. So if I click here, as of now, no logs has been printed. So let me try to create something in my S3 bucket. Okay, let me go to my S3 again. సేమ్ లాగ్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఏం డిఫరెన్స్ ఉండదు. కాకపోతే వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్ ఆన్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ బకెట్. Let me create one bucket. Acknowledged, create bucket. Okay, in this again, let me try to deploy one sample website. Let me enable. I'm just creating this so that some logs will be written. Okay, so save changes, index.html and then error.html. So we have two different files. Click on save changes. Objects, let me try to upload both objects. So add files, I think we have already created this. So index.html, no, I don't have these objects. So let me try to create two objects now. Touch index.html, vi index.html, hello world. Okay, one file is also okay. So add files, desktop, and then index.html, upload. Okay, so one file has been created and uploaded. So we have got our S3 bucket. So let me make this object public. This is also done, and now let me check the website hosting. Okay, so let me copy this. Let me try to access my bucket. My bucket is up and running. I mean my static website. So now let us check if any logs has been printed or not. Okay, if I'll refresh this. Metric logs, triple F. Oh, your region East 2. A bucket is also in East 2 only. Still no logs has been printed. So let me try to check my bucket only. Alright guys, sorry. So basically event logs, it will, I mean, if suppose I am trying to configure the API logs, I mean the insight logs, so it will take up to 6 to 7 hours to record these logs. Okay, I mean after 6 to 7 hours, then we can see some logs recorded in your AWS account, in your S3 bucket or in your log group. So currently we will not be able to see any logs created. Okay, so what I will do is I will just create this now and I will leave this so we can track this after some time. Okay, so let me go to my CloudTrail again. Where is my CloudTrail? My trials data event. Okay, this is my S3 packet. CloudTrail ES2 2023 05 30. Okay, some logs has been created for my newly created data events. Okay, so let us see this 2035. So this is the latest one. So let me download this. Let me try to open. Okay, see, if you'll now see this record, then you will understand what happened on our S3 bucket. Okay, for this we need to first check the what kind of user identity, I mean which user has been created and out of what has been created, which AWS region, and what is the bucket name, each and everything. Okay, try to read all the events, I mean whatever we are seeing over here, right? So just try to capture one log. For example, this is one log where this is getting end id. Okay, so this is one log. So just try to copy this, paste this in notepad, and try to see what are the different attributes available. Okay, this is event, and then we have user identity, and this has been invoked by CloudTrail. I mean, CloudTrail has created one bucket, right? Then event time, at what time, and event source S3 Amazon AWS, event name, and this is the region where it has been created, and this is the source from the where this has been created, and this is the agent who has created, means CloudTrail service has created. Okay, error code, access denied, and then we have error messages and the request parameter. Okay, so this is my bucket which has been created, right, by CloudTrail. What bucket I have created? So this was my, sorry, this was my bucket name which has been created by CloudTrail. Okay, and then the host And the responsible elements, we don't have anything, additional event, signature kind of stuff. Okay. So all these logs, you just try to copy one log and try to check what happened. Okay. Similarly, we will also get one more log for our S3 bucket. So if I'll open my bucket, where is my bucket? Yeah, this is my bucket, right? 7EA. 7EA. Yeah. So this is my bucket created by CloudTrail. If I'll go to 0.30, if I'll refresh this, okay, no new logs has been created. So we'll wait for some more time, then we'll get some new logs. Out of that, we can see what happened to our S3 bucket. Okay, understood now? If we are trying to configure the inside logs,
స్వామి
yeah.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు అక్కడ కాపీ చేసి ఇప్పుడు పేస్ట్ చేశారు కదా అది అంటే మనకు కొంతవరకు అంటే మనకు ఎక్కడి వరకు తీసుకోవాలి అనేది మనకు ఎట్లా తెలుస్తుంది
అది బేసికల్లీ నేను కూడా ఎట్లా తీసుకున్నా ఫ్రమ్ వేర్ ఐ నీడ్ టు కాపీ ఓకే ఫ్రమ్ ద ఫస్ట్ స్టార్ట్ ఆఫ్ కర్లీ బ్రేసెస్ టు ద this one till comma, and again it might start creating some other logs. Okay, if suppose we record nunchi start chestaru, then check for another record which has been creating, adi capture adi choosukoni we need to capture.
అక్కడ మళ్ళీ మళ్ళీ నెక్స్ట్ ఇప్పుడు మనకు అది అక్కడ అయిన అనుకోండి నెక్స్ట్ మళ్ళీ మనకు ఆ తర్వాత నుంచి ఎక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది అనేది ఎక్కడ ఎండ్ అవుతుంది మనకు
బేస్డ్ అపాన్ ఈ బ్రాకెట్ అండ్ కామా కి బేస్ చేసుకొని ఐ హావ్ క్యాప్చర్ ఇక్కడ వరకు ఎండ్ అవుతుందని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేసి క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తా బేస్డ్ అపాన్ దిస్ కర్లీ బ్రేసెస్ అండ్ కామా, and then we are seeing one new record. Or else what we can see is one more thing. If suppose you are seeing the timing, right, ఇక్కడ చూడండి టైం ఉంది మీకు 30 okay 6:42 colon 22Z. okay, same time you can see this one more time. okay, ఇక్కడ ఒక కొత్త టైం అవుతుంది, means one new record is being generated. So based upon the timing we need to capture.
ఎప్పటికప్పుడు మారిపోతూ ఉంటుంది
ఇది ప్రింట్ అయినట్టే. ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ కొత్త లాగ్స్ ఏమైనా వస్తే బకెట్ లో ఇప్పుడు సీ దిస్. ఓకే, యాజ్ ఆఫ్ నౌ వీ హ్యావ్ 2 ఫైల్స్ ఓన్లీ. ఓకే, సో నేను క్యాప్చర్ చేసింది 1217 దిస్ వన్ లేటెస్ట్ వన్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ ఐ రిఫ్రెష్ దిస్, ఇప్పుడు చూడండి కొత్త లాగ్స్ వచ్చినాయి మళ్ళీ. ఓకే, సో బేస్డ్ అపాన్ ద టైమింగ్ వీ నీడ్ టు క్యాప్చర్. ఇఫ్ సపోజ్ యూ గాట్ వన్ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద సెక్యూరిటీ టీమ్ దట్ ఐ నీడ్ ద లాగ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ 12 o'clock to 12:30. In this case what you will do, you need to share all these logs because of the timestamp what they are asking for us. For example, if we ask for a specific timestamp, for example he wants the logs from 12:17 only, 12:17 to 12:18. In this case we can share these logs to them. Okay, now we have got some new logs. If I'll open this, this will be most probably because of the new bucket website hosting what I have created. Okay, so this is all about data events. So for a specific resource, if you want to check each and every detail, in this case we will be getting this information by using data events. So another event what we have our what we call inside event. So if I'll configure the inside event, then it will take at least 6 to 7 hours for AWS to capture my logs. As of now that will not be executed. I mean we can't practically execute for now. Okay, so this is all about AWS CloudTrail. If you have any questions, then let me know, or else we'll move to our CloudWatch concept. This is very straightforward process, guys. We are just enabling. It is only creating the role. By default it is creating our S3 bucket, it is creating our log group, everything. We just need to select what kind of event we want and we need to provision them. Okay, so I will move to CloudWatch now. So as I have said, we have one more monitoring service. Okay, that is CloudWatch. Okay, so what is the difference between CloudTrail and CloudWatch? Okay, CloudWatch is a service used to monitor your AWS resources and applications. Okay, that we run on our AWS environment. Okay, so by using CloudTrail, what we are doing, we are tracking the activities which are happening on our AWS account. It can be either management activities, insight activities, or our data events. But whereas CloudWatch is a monitoring service which help us to monitor our application. For example, we have created one EC2. Okay, and I want to track my EC2. Means if there is any kind of high CPU utilization, in that case, I want my CloudWatch to be triggered. Okay, for example, let me show you this. Let me close all this stuff. Okay, EC2. So if I'll click, so let me try to provision one EC2 now, launch instance. Monitoring F1 EC2. So this is example what I am using. So I will use AMI2 and then T2 micro, and then we have our test OEO key name. Okay, so let it be the default group only. So let me enable the public key. Okay, existing security group, that is default one. Okay, let me launch instance. Okay, so if I'll select this, here we can see one monitoring option, but default which is been creating. So if I'll click here we can see the kind of different options which are been popping up. Okay, so we can see small dashboards, right? So if I'll refresh this, it will load based upon the status of our EC2. Okay, if the instance status checks are okay, then we can see some input over here. Okay, so as of now, no data because it is still provisioning. So what's happening whenever we are trying to create one monitoring EC2, and if suppose our EC2 machine, for example, okay, this is my EC2. Okay, in my EC2, I have installed something or I am performing some operations. Okay, if the CPU utilization is more than 70%, then what should happen? If the CPU utilization is more than 70%, then I need to monitor this service. Means whenever my EC2 is being used more than the capacity, then I want to know the alert, because always I will not be checking my top, I will not execute top command, I will check the CPU utilizations, right? So once these instances are provisioned, we'll deploy some application and this application will be up and running, right? So for some reasons, if there is any problem with this EC2, then I want any service to monitor this. So that's where we have CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is a service which will help us to monitor our AWS resources. And if suppose my CPU utilization is more than 70%, then it should send one alert. It should send one alarm. It should create one alarm. This is basically for the user to know what's happening on our EC2. Okay, and to this alarm again we'll configure one SNS topic so that the user will receive the email notification or Slack notification, I mean our SMS. Okay, so whenever if I see something is wrong with my EC2 with the CPU utilization or with any of the disk write or with any of the networking part, then CloudWatch service should monitor that one. It should capture the metric and it should send out one alarm and it should send out the SNS notification to the service. Okay, so CloudWatch service is used to monitor our AWS resources. Okay, so basically how CloudWatch will monitor, it will collect some metric. Metric means a kind of measurement, I can say. Okay, so CloudWatch is used to collect and track metrics that measure your resources and applications. So basically, it will collect some metrics. For CPU utilization, it will collect some metric. for disk usages, it will collect some metrics. So metric is nothing but some kind of measurement. Okay, so based upon that measurement, what it will do, this will metrics will be pushed to the CloudWatch dashboard. Okay, and there I can create the dashboard to display the configuration of my metric, how much size has been captured or what is the metric configurations. Okay, so once these metrics are being configured, then based upon this metric I will create one alarm what needs to be done. Okay, and then based upon that alarm, a event will get triggered or I will execute some operations. I mean, if suppose I've got the request that my CPU utilization is more than 70% and I got some email. So what I will do, I'll just log into my EC2 and I will try to check which services are occupying or which services are consuming more resources. And I will try to kill that service or will try to restart my service. I will try to do XYZ operations. Okay. So now, but default CloudWatch monitoring is also enabled on our EC2 instances. Okay, if I'll see here, if I'll refresh this page, okay, this is my EC2. This is the monitoring part. Okay, here if you see this, as of now, there is nothing has been created because there is no CPU utilization. I mean, we haven't did anything, right? So there is no monitoring has been captured, data has been captured. Okay, so this is the default monitoring what AWS has provided. This is free of cost. Okay, if I'll click on manage detail monitoring, or even if I'll scroll here, we can see monitoring is disabled. If I'll click on manage detail monitoring, then what will happen? It will start monitoring our instances for every 1 minute. Here if you'll see, data is available in 1 minute, but default what AWS is providing is for 5 minutes. Okay, what AWS is providing is for 5 minutes. So what detail monitoring I want to create is for every 1 minute, means I want the metrics to be sent to for every 1 minute. Okay, so let me click on enable, confirm this. So now what I have did, I have confirmed the monitoring, so billing will be started. Okay, now let us see. So let me try to log in to this instance, connect. Okay, so we have connected to our instance. Now let me try to do something. Okay, so let me put some load on my instance. Basically, as of now, we don't have any applications. No are trying to access our application, so the CPU utilization is very low. So I want to add some fake load on my EC2 instance. We have one command for this: add load to EC2. CPU load command. Not this one. We have one command. Okay. So let me check this. We used to provide some fake load. Okay, let me check. Okay, increase CPU load. Okay, so this is what we used to do. Okay, so let me install this one. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add some fake load. Okay, because we don't have any users, we don't have anyone who are accessing our application. So I will try to add some fake role, I mean for some fake load on my EC2 so that the CPU utilization will be very high. Okay, stress unable to do. Okay, let me try to use. Okay, let me use this command. Repeat the command n times, it seems. Okay, meantime, let me show you the current status of our EC2 instance load. Okay, so instances, click here, monitoring. So see CPU load. If I now scroll up this, okay, for every 1 minute, okay, customize for every 1 minute. Apply. Okay, so for every 1 minute, currently the percentage is 1% only. For every 1 minute, I want this loads to be configured. Okay, so currently, what's the load? 1%. Okay, so now let me try to put some fake load. So let me execute this multiple times. Okay, and let us wait to see what's happening here. Okay, these are the different graphs what we can use for our loads as well. So let me talk about this for some time, but for now let me show whenever if we are adding some load what's happening. Okay, so currently it is 1.33%. This is for every 1 minute I'm trying to capture. Okay, 26% right now because I have added some fake load. Okay, if I'll go top here also we can see 100% CPU utilization is being done. Okay, so what's happening whenever we see some kind of such kind of situations, what will happen? Our instance will not respond as expected. Means more than 70% of CPU utilization or disk spaces are not good for our environment. That might be very dangerous. Means our applications will perform very slow because there is no memory to process our request. In that case, what will happen? The response time for the server will be very slow. Okay, in order to avoid such kind of cases, what we'll do, we'll create some monitoring alerts as well. So based upon this monitoring alert, what will happen, we'll get to know, I mean we'll forecast that there might be some problem in future. Based upon that alarm, we'll try to react or resolve that issue on prior without impacting anything on the business. Means if suppose I got one alert that my CPU utilization is 70%, so what I will do, I will log in, I will check, and I will kill whatever the services which are trying to occupy or consume my memory. So with the help of that, what will happen, we are protecting our EC2s or our environment without impacting any business. On prior only we are getting to know what will happen. Then basically we are predicting the future. Okay, so this is very important. I mean for each and every project, each and every instance or any other service, we need monitoring. With the help of monitoring only we can assume what might happen. That's where we have one line in our self introduction as well. We will be working on the monitoring alerts. Means if I see any email over here, right, if I see one email, okay, so we have an email that something is happening. So based upon the event, what I will do, I will check, okay, S3 bucket, and this is the bucket type. Okay, so let me log into my AWS S3 and this bucket, and I'll check what's happening. So because of this quick response, what will happen, we'll try to resolve the issue before something happened on our environment. Okay, now our CPU utilization is more than 26%. So now it is okay. Okay, so from where we are getting all these metrics, how we are getting these metrics, means I have created my EC2 and I have enabled the monitoring, but what happened in the background, from where we are able to see this. Okay, so if I'll open this, what is metric? As I said, metrics are nothing but a measurement at a particular time, okay, of for our system. Okay, so what are the default metrics we have in AWS? Okay, so these are the default metrics which are available. Okay, if I'll open here, if I'll go to my instance, let me close this. monitoring: CPU utilization, status check fail, status check fail, status check fail, network in bytes, network out, network packets, disk write operations. So these are nothing but the default EC2 metrics which are been provided by AWS only. Okay, so AWS has provided all these default metrics for us to monitor. Okay, now how these metrics are being configured? Okay, so we have something called CloudWatch agent. Okay, let me write this. CloudWatch agents. Okay, so CloudWatch agents are installed on our EC2 since we are using AWS EC2s, right? So by default, these agents are being installed. /name okay, let us see CloudWatch agent installed or not. How to check? So we have status filter agent in EC2. And let us see if CloudWatch is installed or not. Agent status. Okay, how can we check the status of our agent? Okay, so let me copy this command and then hit here. AWS log status service not found. Amazon Linux 2. Okay, then use this command for Linux 2. Okay, let me try to check this command. This is also not working. Okay, let me see this CloudWatch agent. Basically, but in every machine there will be one CloudWatch agent already installed. So this agent is something which is responsible to push these metrics. To carry the status of locally, use this command. Okay, let me try to use this command now. Okay, let us check if the status is running or not. Okay, command not found. What happened? We are unable to track the status. CloudWatch agent, what was the command? OPT AWS, under AWS we have some directories, right? So let me try to check manually. CD OPT AWS. Okay, and then we have, okay, then nothing is there. Okay, so let us not talk about this. Okay, let us forget about this. So let me try to install CloudWatch agent again and we'll see whether it is been installed by default or we need to install. Okay, so for now we'll focus on this. Okay, so what was happening for every EC2, whatever we are trying to create, we can see the monitoring over here. So what's happening on our EC2 at what time and what is the percentage of CPU utilization. The CPU utilization percentage is 60.2 something currently. Okay, because I have added some fake load on my EC2. Okay, so now each and every time if we want to check the monitoring, right, so we need to select the EC2 and come over here. I mean, come at the monitoring and check the graphs. Okay, so what I want is I want a complete dedicated dashboards. Okay, so what do you mean by dashboard? Dashboards are nothing but graphical user presentations. Means, so whatever we are seeing, this is nothing but one dashboard. Okay, so let me try to create our own dashboards. So let me go to CloudWatch. So this is our CloudWatch service. Here, if I click on dashboard, okay, and if I click on create dashboard, and what dashboard you want to create. Okay, so I want CPU utilization, means all the CPU utilizations. I mean, if suppose I have 5 instances and I want to track all the 5 CPU utilizations of my instances, I will create one dashboard called CPU utilization, and I will add all my 5 instances over here. Okay, once this is created, here it is asking us to create what type of widget. I mean, what type of graphics you want to see, whether it should be numeric, stack area, line, bar, pie chart, or anything. So this can be changed after creation as well. So for now, I will go for numeric numbers, because CPU utilization I can more understand based upon the number only. Okay, so click on next. Okay, so once this is created, here it is asking us to select the metric. If you see this matrix, 412 matrix has been pushed to my CloudWatch till now. I mean, for SNS, we have 4 metrics, EBS 4 metrics, application load balancer 4, NAT gateways 14, okay, and then we have logs 18. So from where we have got this? These all are the default metrics which AWS has provided. So if you want to use, then you can select. For example, I want to create the CPU utilization metric, right? So I will click on EC2, okay, and then click on pre-instance metrics, okay, and then select which metric you want to configure. Okay, so CPU utilization. For now, I have my instance, only one instance, right? So I want the metrics of this instance only. So let me copy this ID. Let me copy the instance ID here. Okay, so for this instance, here we have CPU utilization, right? Here we can see CPU utilization. So let us select and click on create widget. Okay, here we can see that 96.6% has been created. Okay, so what I have did, I have created one dashboard for my CPU utilization. For example, if I have one more CPU utilization, I mean one more instance, then what I will do, I will come to this dashboard CPU utilization, and I will select my metric and add one more CPU utilization over here. Okay, so by this what will happen, we are creating these different dashboards for different purposes, so it will be easy for us to monitor. Okay, now if you want to change this, okay, 100%, right? So if you want to customize this minutes and all, we can select this. Okay, if you want to change this, then we can select the type as well. Okay, so widget type, you want stack area. Okay, we can see this. Okay, so if you want to select one more type, so widget type pie. Okay, so this is how we can change our widgets as well, so based upon our requirements. So better go with numeric only, so because with the help of numbers only we are easily understanding what's happened. So now what we have did, we have captured one metric, we have created one dashboard. Now I want to create one alarm. Basically, if my CPU utilization is more than 70% or 80%, I want to get one alarms here. Okay, so in alarms we have 3 different type of alarms. Okay, in alarms we have 3 different type of alarms. So why are we using alarm? Basically, it will check if the metric and the condition what we are passing is same or not. If it is breaching the threshold, then it will send out the alert for us. Okay, so here we have 3 type of alerts. One is okay, means if suppose it is below 70%, then the alarm will be okay state. If it is more than 70%, then it will be in alarm state. Okay, if the metric is not available, I mean if the CloudWatch dashboard is unable to get the response, for example, if suppose assume that this EC2 is shut down. Okay, if you have shut down this EC2, what will happen? there will be no metrics reaching out to the dashboard, right? So here we will not be able to see any metrics, right? So in this case, what will happen? The alarm state will be no sufficient data or insufficient data. Okay. So based upon these three alarms, we can configure any kind of event. Okay. So now let me try to create one alarm. Okay. CloudWatch. Let me go to CloudWatch. Okay. Let me go to alarm. Okay. Create alarm. Select metric. So which metric we want to select? To the CPU utilization, right? So EC2 pre-instances of our ID. So what was our ID? So this was our ID. So let me copy. This is my CPU utilization. Select metric. Okay. So here we can find different type of configurations. Okay. Once this is done, then see. Here I need to create three type of alarms. Okay. Greater than threshold. When CPU utilization is greater than 70. Okay. Or greater than or equal to 70. Or lower than or equal to lower than 70. Okay. So greater than or equal to 70. Click on next. Okay. So what should be the state? It should be the in alarm state. Means if it is crossing more than 70% of threshold, then an alarm needs to be created. So what I want, how the notification should send, we will be configuring one SNS topic, right? So already I have configured one SNS topic. So let me use the same SNS. So alert. Okay. And then if you want any type of actions needs to be done, for example, if it is more than 70%, right? For example, if it is more than 70% or it is in alarm state, I want to stop this instance. Even this is possible. Or you want to terminate this instance. Okay. So even this is possible. So for now, I will not configure any EC2 action. Okay. Let me use the default one. Next, alarm name, CPU reached 70%. Okay, I'm just configuring one alarm. Click on next. Create alarm. So what will happen? So one alarm will see, as of now insufficient data, because just now the data is been sent to this alarm as well. So it will take some time, and then one alarm will get created. So for now this alarm will get created because the CPU utilization is more than 70%. Okay. Similar to this, I need to create two more alarms. For same metric, I want to create two more alarms, because if the CPU utilization is more than 70, one will be created. Okay. So let me create one more alarm. Select metric, EC2 instance, re-instance. Okay. Okay. CPU utilization, select metric, average 5 minutes. Okay. If it is lower than or equal to 70. Okay. Or if it is lower than 70, click next. It is in OK state. Okay. So you can use the same alarm. So no need to create new alarm each and every time. We can use the same alarm. Okay. So EC2 action, I'm not using anything. Next. CPU is okay. So let me write some message and click on next. Create alarm. Okay. So now how many alarms do we have? We have, if I'll click on all alarms, we can have two different alarms. So here, this was earlier created. This is in alarm state now. Means because the CPU utilization has crossed, okay, even if I'll do top here, right? It is more than 100%. Okay, that's the reason this alarm is been generated. Okay, in alarm, if I'll see here, so one alarm has been generated, and if I'll go to my email, okay, here we can see one notification has been sent. Okay, so where is our not CloudTrail? Okay, where is my alarm related to my CloudWatch? Okay, so basically CloudTrail events we are able to get because I have configured that earlier, right? So let me do one thing. Let me go to my CloudTrail and delete the trails because I don't want any alarms related to trails. Okay, let me delete both the trails. So nothing will be sent now. Okay, so now if I'll open this CloudTrail, I mean my email notifications, here we can see one alarm is been generated. Okay, so what happened the moment this has crossed the threshold, one alarm has been created, and in this alarm we have configured one notification. So most probably I will receive one email saying that my CPU utilization is more than 70%. Okay, so let me try to fix this. Alarms. Okay, see the limit what I have kept is 60, I mean 70%. Okay, and the current usage is 100%. That's the reason the alarm has crossed. Okay, in alarm, and then here if you see actions has been enabled. Okay, so here we can see CloudTrail. Why again CloudTrail? Where is my CloudWatch message? Basically this has got mixed up with this notification. Okay, let me try to do one thing. Okay, let me try to create one new notification. Okay, let me delete this alarm now. Sorry. Okay, let me try to copy. Next. Okay, in alarm, create a new topic. Default alarm. So, okay, so let us use the same topic and let me configure the email ID now. This is my SNS, guys. Okay, so create topic and then next 71. Let me use the same name 71. Okay, create alarm. Here if you see subscription is pending. So let me confirm the subscription. Yes, whenever we create one SNS topic, one subscription needs to be created. Okay, so once this is done, now if my alarm again breaches this one, CPU reached 71. So if this got breached, then we can see, okay, so this is also breaching. Warning has been enabled in alarm. So if I'll open my CloudWatch here on my Gmail, we should see one notification. Let me delete this one. Okay, now here you will say CloudTrail alert. Okay, here we have this in promotions. Okay, CloudTrail alert. If I click here, then here we can see CPU is 70. Okay, so this is how we can see the alarms in our email. Okay, so whenever our CPU or our EC2 instance or our any other service is not behaving as expected, then we can configure alarms for our notifications. Okay, clear? Guys, understood?
Yes.
Okay, now what I want to do is whenever we are seeing something, so when CPU is okay, say now the CPU is okay, what will happen again? We can see one alarm. Okay, even if CPU is also okay, then we can see one notification. See, CPU is okay. So this is how we can see the different configurations. Okay, now you try to configure different alarms for different reasons. I mean, for CPU, for disk space, and for other networking inputs and discretes. Okay, so now here we have one more thing in CloudWatch, and this is also very important: events. Okay, if I click on rules, okay, here what I can do is I can write one rule based upon the alarm this event or this rule will get created. Okay, not breach one, no, not this one. CloudWatch service. Let me go to my CloudWatch service. Okay, let me go to rule. Let me create one rule. Okay, schedule. So we can either configure the cron job or we can configure directly. I mean 5 minutes, okay, or 1 hour, 1 day. Okay, so what I will try to do is 1 day. So for example, if suppose there is any alarm configured, what should happen? I'm trying to target any particular event here. Okay, in this event rules, what I'm trying to do is whenever if I'll see my EC2, where is my EC2? Stop EC2 or terminate EC2. Okay, so whenever I see any alarm has been configured, so what should happen? My EC2 should get terminate. Here I am calling one EC2 terminate instance API call. Okay, here it is asking for EC2 instance API. Okay, let me share this API or the ID. Sorry. Okay, let me copy this ID. Okay, so create new role or use an existing role. So basically for each and every service we need to create rules to communicate, right? So I will use this, and then what I'm trying to say is for every 1 day, I mean for at least 1 day, the alarm has been triggered, then delete this. Okay, configure details, name, delete EC2, description, we can have anything, create rule. So what we are trying to do? Okay, what we are trying to do, if the alarm has been triggered, then I want one event needs to be happened. Basically based upon the alarms we can create events. So what we have seen in alarms as well, I mean if suppose the threshold is more than 70%, whether to restart, to stop, to terminate our instance, right? So such kind of events also we can configure. Create rule. Okay, see what will happen now. Since this is breaching our instance, right? So what will happen? Even here we can see alarm status 2 by 3 in alarm, means out of 3 alarms, 2 alarms are being triggered. Okay, so here I have configured one rule. So if I refresh this, rule terminate constant. Okay, so built-in target. So let us see if this rule has been implemented. Say instance has been terminated. Why? Because this has triggered the event based upon the alarm. One event has been triggered, and because of that event, what I have created, I wanted to delete my EC2. So that's why this event, this EC2 has been deleted. Okay, so that's how we can configure the alerts or alarms. Okay, now what we have seen was the default metrics what AWS has provided. Okay, so whatever AWS has provided, we were seeing the same default metrics. Now my requirement is to customize my own metric. Means I don't want to do all the CPU utilization and other things. I have one own requirement. So what is my requirement? My requirement is to monitor a specific service and send the metric to CloudWatch. Okay, I have one requirement. My requirement is to monitor a specific service and send the metric to CloudWatch. Guys, remember this is what you need to talk in interviews as well. Have you worked on CloudWatch creation dashboards? Yes. Have you created from scratch? Yes. For what purpose you have created? So we have created for using default metrics as well as customized metric. So what was your customized metric? So our customized metric was to check if check for a service, okay, or a process, if it is running or not. If it is running, then it should send out the alert. If it is not running, then it should, sorry, if it is not running, then it should email the notification. I mean alarm should get triggered and email should be received to the user. Okay, so this is our use case for interviews as well. Apart from this, whatever script I'm trying to use now, this is the use case for batch scripting. In interview, they will be asking, have you worked on batch script? If you say yes, what was the purpose? So you can say that we have written batch script to monitor a specific service and configure the service to CloudWatch to send the metrics. Okay. So let us try to work on this now. So let me create one new instance because this has been deleted. So let me click on launch instance. Monitor EC2. Let me use Amazon Linux 2 image. Okay, keep it twist Ohio. Let me use this existing security group, default one. Okay, launch instance. Okay, so this has been pending. So we'll wait. So here I have one script. So let me go here. Okay, so we have one basic script. So this script, what it is doing, basically it is trying to check the status of our Tomcat. Okay, if Tomcat is running, then this will get triggered. Okay, so this is nothing but our AWS CLI command to send the metric to CloudWatch dashboard. So here what I'm trying to do, if the script is, I mean, if Tomcat is not running, then it will send out the value as 0, and if Tomcat is running, then it will send out the value as 1. So based upon 0 and 1, we are going to create the alarms. Okay, so let us see now how can we do that. Okay, so this is my EC2. So let me try to connect. Shit, yeah, there is no private IP. I need to create one more instance. Test Linux 2 again. Let me go to the PEMKey part. Here I need to enable this existing security group, default one, launch instance. Okay, now we have one instance. So I will be sharing this script as well. So in the meantime, let me share you some documents. Load from your computer where we have. Okay, this is the script, and this is script, and where we have that load, increase CPU load. Okay, from here you can get this. Okay, and meantime, let me upload documents as well. CloudWatch, and what is pending? I think this is the only one. Okay, let me share, and also let me share these notes as well. Okay, let me share the notes for CloudWatch. Let me go to the training part. Monitoring services. So this is the document what I was using to in the session. Okay, so this is the document. I have shared all these documents. So try to work on this. So in the meantime, let us see if our instance is up and running. Yes, this is up and running. So let me try to connect now. EC2 instance. Okay, so now we have our instance. So let me try to switch to root user. Okay, so what this instance should do, basically this should send the metric for Tomcat. So now first let me download Tomcat. So where we have this Tomcat. So now I need to install Tomcat, right? So yum-y install Java 1.8. So let us install Java 1.8 first. Okay, and then Tomcat download. Let me try to download Tomcat 9 version I want. Okay, let me copy the tar one, copy file. Okay. So if you talk about the default metrics in interview, right? So that's something what everyone will be doing. So always talk about the default as well as the customized metric. So this is something which is not available in AWS, and we are trying to create our own metric and push the data. Okay. So try to make sure to talk about this use case. Whenever they have asked you about bash scripting, so you can say that you have used this script for monitoring purpose. And if someone is asking you about CloudWatch, then we can say that you have used CloudWatch for the default metric. Okay, so this is done. Now let me download, go to cd opt. So duplicate and then let me paste the URL. Okay, this is also downloaded. tar-xvf Apache Tomcat. This is done. This has been extracting. Okay, cd Apache. Then we have this file. Then cd bin. We have this file. Now let me execute startup.sh. Okay, Tomcat has been started. If you want to check, then you can go to the public IP, copy colon 88. Okay, see our Tomcat is up and running, right? So now, if a Tomcat is up and running, as I said, this should send the metric as 1. Okay, if my Tomcat is not running, then it should send the metric as 0. So now let me try to copy this, but before copying this, I need to change the regions as well. Okay, so instance ID, this will automatically pick it up from this particular location in each AWS EC2. If you'll go to this location, right, then we can see the complete detailed information of our metadata, our instance ID and everything are stored in our EC2 machine as well. Okay, let me show you this. cd opt AWS. Okay, here we can find the, okay, here we can find complete metadata related configurations. Okay, see here we have the EC2 metadata. If I do EC2 metadata, okay, if I cat EC2 metadata, okay, see we can see the complete information of our instance. Okay, now in order to execute this, we need to have AWS CLI configure, right? Because we are using AWS CLI commands, means AWS CLI needs to be available, right? So what I will do, so first let me try to check if the version is 9.065. So first let me try to modify something. Okay, 9.0.65. So what is the Tomcat version we are using? 9.0.75. So let me modify this to 7.5. Okay, this command will help us to check the status and capture the status. And then ap south one. So where you want to push this one? Okay, so in my case we are in Ohio, right? Ohio means US East 2. Login చేసుకో US East 2. Okay, so US East 2, and then the space here, the metric name is Tomcat, what we are trying to call. Okay, and also let me change this. Yes, East 2. Okay, so this script is ready now. So let me copy this, copy, and then let me vi monitoring dot bash Let me try to paste this. So what is the permissions we need to provide? Let me go for complete permission. Okay, I've created the permission. Now let me try to execute this. Okay, monitoring bash. Okay, I'm trying to execute, but here we are able to see that unable to locate credentials because there is no credentials what we have configured. So now let me use AWS configure access key. I need to create access key in Ohio region, security credentials. Because we want to connect our EC2 instance, right? So if you don't want to use this, then what I can do, I can configure one role. If you remember, we can configure one role. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me go to my EC2 instance. Okay, since we have already created that role, right, in Ohio. So let me go to Ohio. Test security, let me action security, modify IAM role. Here we have EC2 instance role. Okay, EC2 S3 access, no, EC2 instance role. I'm not sure whether this is the exact role or not. Even I don't remember. Okay, let me update this and let us try to check. Okay, I have configured one role. Now if I'm trying to execute my script, so let us see what will happen. Access denied, guys. So there is no such role for CloudWatch as of now. So let me do one thing. Let me better go to security credentials and create one AMIs, I mean access key and secret key. Okay. So if I scroll down, here we have two. Let me delete this one, existing one. Okay, create access key. Understand, create. Okay. So this is my access key and secret key. Let me copy and go to the AWS configure because I want to configure this right to my EC2. This is my access key and then the secret key. In your case, try to configure one role. Okay, do not use access key and secret key. As of now, I am using this one. Okay, so region will be US East 2, US East 2. Okay, the format will be JSON. Okay, done. Now if I'll try to execute my best monitoring script, so what will happen? The script has got executed. So if you want to see, then we can go to CloudWatch and we can see if there is any metric name with Tomcat has been created. Okay, so let me go to this CloudWatch dashboards. Okay, sorry. Let me go to CloudWatch and then where are we? Okay, and okay, or else let me try to create one dashboard with this metric. Okay, create dashboard. Dashboard name will be service running. Okay, create dashboard. So this will be number because we are passing the value 0 and 1. Click on next. And the metric here, if you'll see this custom namespaces. So this is what we have created. Okay, if I click select on Tomcat and then instance ID. Okay, select this, create budget. Okay, see, since Tomcat is up and running, here we can see the status as 1. So what I have did, I have just executed this for only 1 minute. I mean, just now I have executed manually. So what will happen? This will be disabled. I mean, after 2 minutes, this will be again as part of 0. Why? Because there is no, I mean, this will be 0 because there is no data here. Okay, if I'll click for every 1 minute. Okay, and if I'll refresh my dashboard. So since I have executed my script only for one time, we are able to see one metric has been configured. But after some time, I mean after 1 or 2 minutes, so what will happen? This will be insufficient data. See, there is no data now. If I'm trying to refresh, there is no data. Why? Because We are not pushing any metric. So what I need to do, I need to configure one cron job this to this script. So what this script will do, this script will check whether it is running or not for every 1 minute based upon our cron job. So let us now try to fix one cron job -e. So before that, let me configure my path. Okay, so cron tab -e. So I want this script to execute for every 1 minute /root/ monitoring.bash. Okay, now what I have did, I have this script will get executed for every 1 minute and continuously we can see the data here. Okay, so if I'll refresh now, for every 1 minute we can see the script. See no data because nothing was being implemented. Okay, after 1 minute, what will happen? We can see as 1. Because I have configured one cron job, this cron job will be executing for each and every 1 minute. Okay, and it will send out the alert as value as 1, and we can see the value over our CloudWatch dashboard. Okay, so this is how we need to create the customized metric. Okay, now if I'll refresh this, see the value is been 1. 1 means up and running. If suppose, let me try to stop my Tomcat. Okay, cd opt apache Tomcat cd and then sorry bin bash shutdown. Sorry, bash shutdown. So what is happening? My Tomcat is not running, so it should send the value as 0. Okay, so we'll wait for a couple of minutes, and here we can see that our value will be 1 for every 1 minute, 1 second, every 10 seconds, customized for 1 minute. See, now it is 0 because our Tomcat service is not running. So this is how we can customize our monitoring based upon batch scripting as well. Okay, now what I will do for this metric, I will go to my alarms again, CloudWatch. Okay, I will go to the alarms, create alarm, select metric. Which metric you want to select? Tomcat instance ID. Okay, select this, select metric. Okay, so if it is greater than, okay, greater than 0 means if it is greater than 0, then it means that this is okay in our case. Okay, and what alarm needs to be sent? Okay, we can send one alert. Okay, similar to this, I can create one more alarm if this is greater or less than 0. Okay, if suppose select metric, select the metric, Tomcat metric. So what will happen? Instance ID from this instance, select metric. Okay, if it is lower than 1 or it is lower than 1, what will happen? Means if it is 0, then it means that this is not running. So that's where we can create. If it is lower than 1, then it should trigger out the alarm, means it is not running. Okay, so this is how we need to create different alarms as well. So for each concept or each metric, we can create multiple alarms, whether it is running, fail, or executing. Here if you see, to the previous alarms, insufficient data. Why? Because that instance has been now stopped and it is not running. Okay, hope this was clear, and I want you guys to completely watch this video. And we have some use cases for batch scripting. You can talk about this in interviews. Even for CloudWatch, you can talk about this use case. Okay, so try to create one Tomcat, try to run, try to stop, and do all the configurations. I want each and every alarm. I want alarm for in alarm state, okay state, insufficient data. In 3 cases, I want to see these alarms. Okay, Guys, if you have any questions, then let me know, or else we can wind up this call. I hope this was clear. Guys, yes or no? Hi, na, so गए सब?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. We can follow the video.